everyone. It's great to be back with you. I am Renee Carter,
And I'm Glenn Thomas.
and this is Heart
Heart Talk
Live.
Live. Yeah, can't wait. Great topic tonight. Glad to be here with everyone. Glad that you joined us. We're gonna get into it because that's what we do tonight. We want you to begin to put heart back in your work, and that's what we're all about here.
Always. And we have a great topic tonight. Our topic tonight is called How Are You? How Are You has a different meaning now. Okay.
Yeah.
And making sure that we are equipped to sustain the blow when someone says, I'm not okay.
Yeah.
I just happened to be watching a clip. It's a meme now, but of Tia Mowry when she was on one of those shows. I think it was called The Real or the Talk, and one of the co-hosts asked her, Are you okay?" And just like we always say, "Are you okay?" You're okay, right? We expect a person to say, "Yeah, I'm great." But now we're getting people who are saying no, it's so heavy that they're saying no, I'm not okay. With COVID and all of the things that we've endured for 2020 and 21, Glenn, I mean, many of us are not okay. You've got parents, that had to do virtual with their children.
For over a
And
year.
they've been for a whole year that are not teachers. I thank God that I was an educator, but still it was difficult. And so I can imagine. And so, just how do we equip ourselves to be there when someone says they fall apart and they say, I'm not okay?
Yeah, let me tell you something. First off, let's just give a shout out to everybody who had to become a impromptu educator last year. I just want to give a shout out to everybody who basically, because listen, don't get me wrong, teachers, you gangster, like it's
They are,
another level.
yeah,
But
they are.
I do believe that there's some credits that should be probably given to everybody who had to step in and be an at home teacher. I'm not saying they should be certified in teaching. I'm just saying a couple of CEUs probably wouldn't hurt anybody. You know what I'm
Give
saying?
us a little something.
Couple CEUs. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Teachers do rock.
Give us
Shelby,
something. Look.
give us something. Shelby say teachers rock. Go dogs. Go dogs. It's folks Shelby
That's
right
right,
there.
Shelby. Oh, Shelby's back. Hey, girl.
Yeah. She ain't know. She been around. She been around. She
She
been around.
has. She
Yeah,
been in the talk. Hey,
she
girl.
been around. And so yeah, today, what was crazy today was that I had two conversations back to back. The first conversation, somebody asked me, "How you doing?" And I was like, "I'm doing all right. Just came out of the meeting, really good meeting." I was like, "Yeah, I'm doing all right. I'm doing well." And he was like, "Man, I'm glad you said you were doing well because the last couple conversations I've been having, people were like, I'm not doing so good. I'm going through it. This is going on. Yada yada yada." I was like, "Oh man," I was like, "Yeah, I feel you on that." I just try and stay positive as much as possible. And when I'm not doing well, I'll say, "Hey, I'm doing pretty good. It could probably be a little bit better, but it could be worse." Um, and then though, man, maybe less than an hour later, another conversation, and the person was like, "Yeah, today somebody asked me how I was doing," and she was like, "Yo, I wasn't doing well." So and she said she was in the store, and the guy asked her like, "Yeah, did you find everything you needed?" And she was like, "Nah, I didn't." Like, and she really triggered in me, like, that's real. Like, sometimes it ain't happening. It's like, are you gonna do something about it though? Like, when I tell you I'm not well, are you gonna do something about it? And when I tell you, if I'm in the store, I didn't find everything I needed, like, you just gonna keep on? You're not gonna address that? We're asking these questions, because a part of our nature historically to just go through those questions because it's it's nice. But Sister Joan Chittister said something, renowned author, scholar practitioner, nun, said something on a TV show. She said, "We know how to be nice, but we struggle at being good."
Mm.
Folks, I want you to hear
Uh-uh.
that. I
Run
want you
that
to hear
back.
that. Yeah,
Run
we're gonna
that
have to
back.
run that back.
Run that back. Run
We
that
we
back.
we
Run
we
that back.
we got.
Right.
That's the rewind voice for those who are listening and not seeing.
Yes.
Um,
Run that back. Say
she
that
said,
again.
"We know how to be nice. We know how to be nice, but we struggle at being good." Folks, being nice says, "How are you?" without wanting a response of anything outside of "I'm well." That's being nice. All right. Being nice is, did you find everything today? Being nice is, welcome to work. How things going? And you're dreading anything other than, I'm good today, right?
Right.
That's being nice. Being good causes us to actually be equipped and ready for the authentic, real response. It's
Mm-hmm.
being good. It hit me in the guts. It hit me in the guts. Shelby said there was a couple of days that was either me or her.
Mm-hmm.
I'm here for a few more before I leave.
Oh yeah.
Racial reconciliation at church.
Yes.
Oh Lord, we gotta talk
Well,
about
she
that.
said that we
Racial
can talk about later.
racial
I'm down, Shelby.
reconciliation.
I was waiting on you to put that one up.
Racial reconciliation.
Reconciliation. I'm loving that, Chelsea. Shelby,
Appreciate
I
that,
can't
Shelby.
wait.
Yeah, but I mean that's kind of where we are, right, folks? We are really great at being nice. We're great at asking the question of how are you?
Mm-hmm. We
That
are
just
really
doesn't have the
good.
same meaning anymore. Many people, so many people, in some way, shape, form, or fashion, when you ask that question now, there's a deeper answer. There's a deeper answer. So we gotta talk about that.
But that, right, this right here, this is what I was going to say too, Shelby. So when we ask that question, do we even stop to listen for a person's response? So many times it's in passing that we say, "Oh, hey, how you doing?" And we keep right on. Do we even hear what the person said? And the person naturally says, "Oh, I'm fine," and they move on. If we can hear what they say, sometimes they'll say, "How are you?" You don't even answer. You just say, "How are you doing?"
Yeah. You give them the how you doing back. You
You
give them the
just
how you doing back.
that's your response. You don't even
You're
respond.
like, well, I asked you how you were doing. You're
Right,
like,
right.
you don't really want to know.
You really don't want to know, because I don't think it's like you said, Glenn, that we are equipped to be non-judgmental about how they really feel,
Mhm.
because I know oftentimes when a person tells us how they feel and when they are down, we tend to place a comparison measure on it and say, well, this person is experiencing cancer and
Yeah.
you upset about this, and to that person, that is equivalent right now. It's their feelings. So, how, Glenn, do we get ourselves equipped to just be present in the moment that a person needs us to just listen, receive, and then sometimes we don't need to respond, but to just be there for a person's response of, "I'm not okay."
Yeah. And I think, what I want to share today is about presence.
Mm-hmm.
Presence in the sense of being conscious in a moment, every moment, but bringing some practicality to it. And what do I mean by that? So maybe we're walking down a busy street and there are many people on the street. And what happens when everyone on the street that's walking towards you says, "Hello, how are you?"
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, what happens when when you walk past 10 people, you're trying to get somewhere, and 10 people literally one after the other say, "How are you?" And you say, "I'm well," and you keep striving. You say, "Well, how are you?" And it really is a pleasantry again, as opposed to really being authentic and wanting the real response.
Mm-hmm.
But presence isn't about necessarily giving all of your time and energy to something. Presence is about being in that moment fully, to be able to receive the verbal and nonverbal signals of the exchange. Can we talk about
Mm-hmm.
that?
Mm-hmm.
So, what does that mean practically? When we are before somebody and they give us a nice pleasantry, "Hey, how you doing?" I'm doing well. How are you? Now, there's a moment in how you say "how are you" and then how you visually speak and "how are you" to someone, where you can see that either they are fully interested and invested in what you're going to say, or they're not. Can you say that and do this with everyone you see and walk on, you bump into on the street? Practically, no, but you can be present in each exchange. Presence is not necessarily about how much time you spend, but the quality in which you spend it. Presence.
Mm-hmm.
So let's talk about quality as opposed to quantity. All right. Great example is, I'm in the grocery store and there's 10 people in line, and the cashier, you get up to the cashier and you're just having a crappy day. Like, you're having a crappy day. And the cashier is gonna say it like in rhythm. "Hey, hope you found everything today. How you doing?"
I did it.
All right. "I didn't find everything today, first off." That's the first thing. Because now you reignited my piss offness. Right. "I didn't find everything. And when I walked up in here, I was already upset about something that happened outside of the store."
Mm-hmm.
Now, the cashier might not be trained on how to handle that, right?
Mm-hmm.
But what we can help the cashier do is, hey, there are going to be a lot of people, a lot of different feelings, a lot of things going on. When you ask genuinely, but recognize that there can be a quality moment as opposed to a quantity moment. "How are you? How are you doing today?" I'm not. I ain't doing so well. I mean, boom, 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 boom. I can understand that. I can understand that. Well, I hope your day gets better. I hope that at least something can happen to end your day on the right note. I can appreciate you not feeling well. I had some bad days myself. Now, I know that might be asking a lot, but I think I want to get across the general gist of that. Where we are today, we're in the moment of quality over quantity, presence over absence, being absent. We're in the moment of value over money. I want
Mm-hmm.
people to understand we're in these moments now where we realize, like, some folks say, "I got a whole lot of money. I am bored out my mind. I'm
Mm-hmm.
lonely. I can't go nowhere." Like, I value my friendships more than ever now. Right? I'm more present than I have ever been now. Right? I I want us to think about quality over quantity when we think about being consciously present. When we ask the question, "How are you?" It's a big lift, but it's the lift that is mandatory and necessary if we're to begin to really heal each other and heal ourselves and heal within each other.
I think too that it would be, I guess I'm trying to pull together the words to say compassion, man. Like just being having a compassionate heart. Looking at people as images of our own, of ourselves, so that we can give them what we would want for ourselves. Um, so that we can treat them the way that we would want to be treated if we were indeed having a bad day. And not being offended and taking it personal. But you know, Glenn, we've talked about this a lot in the past where we start not asking what is wrong with you, but what happened to you. And that's how we build our compassionate hearts. And our responses become kinder, gentler, and they become the good responses that holds us accountable for having a good heart, being intentional. What is our intention when we ask a person, how are you doing? What is our intention when we're asking people, how are you doing? And being prepared with, being prepared to respond in a compassionate and empathetic way in which the person, when they walk away from us, we will have impacted them to where maybe they don't feel, where they feel better than they did when they, not saying when they might feel good, but at least they feel better when they walk away from us, that they feel as if someone understands.
Yeah, I think intention is real. I think what you make me think of though is, our expectations.
Mm-hmm.
Look, this is highly debated. We have this big debate about expectations.
Expectation. Here we go. Jamila, you here?
and look, I've been very clear about how I think about expectations. Expectations will set you up
For disappointment.
for extreme disappointment.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Expectations are the beginning of a wild roller coaster ride.
Mm-hmm.
Look, when someone asks us, especially someone we don't know, and especially in the context considered like in the grocery store and fast food line, places that are very not practical that really have conversation.
Mm-hmm.
Like I think, Jamila even said earlier, like I don't even know if it's practical even to even ask you how are you in the checkout line. Like, the better question is how fast do you need to get out of here today? All right.
Right.
Like, extremely fast. Oh, well, there you go. Right. But I think the expectation of saying I expect when you ask the question, I expect you to be ready for the answer. Like I want you to be fully ready for the answer. And I think this goes both ways, right? I think one, when you ask it, you should ask it with the intention of listening to the true and real answer.
Mm-hmm.
But then the person who's responding should not have the expectation, though, that when the person asks, that's what their intention is.
Mm-hmm.
Listen, we are both responsible in that engagement, right? Authentic intention to get to really understand what's happening, and then understanding that entering into that engagement with no expectation allows you to not then be disappointed once again by somebody being nice, not exhibiting goodness. All right. We have to get our heads wrapped around expectations, folks. I can't look. I've been buried in it half my life, expecting people to act a certain way because I did something, expecting people to respond a certain way because because they should, right? Because I gave of myself, I gave of my time, of my treasure, of my talent, of whatever it may be, my heart, expecting in return goodness, not niceness, goodness. But the reality of it is that whatever the metaphorical question is, it can be, how are you? Do you love me? Do you care? Are we on the same path? Do you get me? Whatever the metaphorical how are you question is, and whatever it is, when we set expectations with it, we set ourselves up.
Yeah, and speaking of expectations, let's flip that just for a second. How about having the expectation that just because somebody is alive that they are well?
Bingo.
Like, you just because you're okay, everybody else should be okay because everybody walking around and breathing with you. And just having the expectation that everybody that's walking around breathing and didn't die from corona, that they are well, and being prepared to handle the response of I ain't good, and the tears and the hurt and the heartbreak of all of the things called life that may be actually happening to a person in real time when you ask them, are you okay? And being prepared to be that shoulder. And listen, we can say, well, it ain't none of my business. Yeah, we could take that. We could take that road if we want. And I'm not going to get involved. I'm not going to get involved. But the reality of it is, I feel if a person comes to me and they lay that in front of me, then I take ownership, not of their problem, but of serving them.
Yeah, and I mean, I think that's goodness, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I'll say this. Listen, I believe in emotion, but I believe in being practical as well. And
Mm-hmm.
I know that the practicality of it is that there's so many people not equipped.
Ooh, yeah.
I'm about to say something though.
Oh boy. Wait a minute. Is this a hurt feelings alert?
This is a hurt feelings alert. I don't want to hurt
This
feelings,
is
but
a
it
hurt
is a
feeling.
hurt feelings alert. I don't want to hurt anybody's feelings.
Ooh, boy,
This
this
is
is a hurt
about being
feeling.
honest and open. So many of us aren't equipped to be in goodness.
Mm.
We're not equipped to give goodness.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not because we aren't able to give goodness. It starts from a place of giving goodness to yourself.
Mm.
You cannot give what you do not have, like what you do not encompass. And there's so many people. What's happening is so many of us are running into people who are not equipped to give us what we expect. And because we expect something from somebody that is not equipped to give it, we then set ourselves up for the failure, a failure from somebody who ain't even got what we want. Come on now. That's why expectations sets us up for the okie doke. We're out here expecting stuff from people that aren't equipped to even provide the substance that we actually need. So, whatever the metaphorical how are you is in your life, the question that you have to ask yourself is not why people don't care. The question is why you care so much.
Mm.
So I missed somebody with that one.
Mm.
I missed somebody with that one. I'm gonna have to say that one again. I know I missed somebody with that one. I'm gonna say it again. Listen, the question isn't about the other person, about why don't you care? Because if you ain't equipped, you ain't equipped. My question is to you. Why do you care so much? Why do you care? Why do we care so much about what the other person is not equipped to do? I, I'm speechless.
So much so that it will make you angrier
Yeah.
if they're not equipped. It'll make you angrier and more present with that emotion than it will about what you're actually even upset about in the first place.
It takes us on a roller coaster ride. And look,
It
and
takes us
listen,
on a roller coaster.
I'm speaking. I speak this from my space. I write in the first book. I write about a story about the time I sat in the office with my supervisor, and I had expectations. Listen, this is a good story. Now
All
you
of them
talking about, huh?
All of them are. But go ahead.
What?
Look.
you talking about expectations on 11? Like, I mean, I had expectations on 11, not 11, 11. I had expectations that were so high that he didn't know about, and he definitely wasn't equipped to respond to. I had expectations of this person to the point it drove me it drove me mad. Where I sat down in his office and we were having a conversation, and I literally just snapped on him. Yeah, you know what I'm talking about, Jan.
Mm-hmm.
I snapped on him. I just went off. I went off on him. I knew when I left his office, I first off, it felt like the weight was just off of me, right? Because it had been building up. It had been building up. But when I left his office, I knew that I was fired. Like, you ever had a conversation with a supervisor? Anybody ever had a conversation with a supervisor? When you knew what you just said, that was your termination? Like, you walked outside and you called your loved ones and you called everybody like, yo, I'm about to start looking for a job. Just let me know, let me know what you hear out there in the streets. I should be gone in 2 weeks, but the way that just went down, they might just go ahead and let me go tomorrow, tell me go home, right? Right? Like, it was that, right? Like, don't come back. We'll send your stuff to you, right? That type of conversation. Like, you don't have to come back and get your stuff. Like, we got you. We got UPS. We'll get it to you, my friend. It was that type of conversation. It was built on those expectations that all just came tumbling down in that one moment. Expectations. Now, he was a friend, and because he was a friend, he came to me later and he sat down with me. And he said, I didn't expect that. I heard about you, but that was sooner than I thought. I heard, but seeing it in action, I was expecting something from someone who was not equipped nor even knowledgeable. Here we go. Come on, folks. He wasn't equipped, and aside from being not equipped, he wasn't knowledgeable about the expectation. Come on. How you gonna be expecting stuff from folks and they don't even know what you expecting? And then on top of that, you got the audacity to get mad at them. you gonna shine on them because they didn't give you what they didn't know they were supposed to be giving you.
And you know what? Since I've been working here, I will tell you, when people tell me that they mad at folks that have been doing wrong for a long time, that they even seen, they keep addressing over and over again about the same thing, I'm laughing. I'm like, why you mad though? Like,
they don't even know.
We go here every day. Like, it's just all the time. I don't know if you've noticed, maybe this is an outsider looking in, but you mad all the time. Why you mad?
It took years for me to figure out. And I sat down with him. I said, I sat down with him years later, and I said to him, I said, when I snapped on you in that meeting, in that conversation, that wasn't about you. And he listened. He didn't say anything. He said, okay. I said, what I realized was that was about the expectations that weren't fulfilled from my dad.
Mm-hmm.
It goes deep. It goes deep. It was
Mhm.
about a black man in my life who I expected to do something and he didn't do it. And it triggered me. It triggered me. It triggered the relationship I had with my dad. It triggered the days that weren't spent with him. It triggered the things that I wanted from him. It triggered all those times that I didn't receive what I wanted. And in that moment, I compared him. I put him in position he didn't know he was in. I put him on the pedestal that he didn't know he was on. I expected things from him he didn't know I expected. And because he was unknowing and in many cases really ill-equipped to respond, I lashed out at him. I lashed out at him. And I told him, I said, I apologize. I was using you, but it was about something totally something else. And he just said, that's understandable. We have to be mindful that the anger that happens in those moments, in the metaphorical, how are you? The anger that happens, the sadness that happens, the disconnectedness that happens, it has zero to do with that person. In so many cases, we don't even know that person that well. In so many cases, they have no clue. In so many cases, we literally have created the environment around what we expect from them that they're not giving to us.
And oftentimes, our expectations, I saw Jamila's response, but oftentimes our expectations is an unmet need that no one can fulfill, to be honest. And if they do fulfill it, it shouldn't be under duress. 9 times out of 10, people don't know if they can fulfill an expectation or not. They might say they can. They might say they can't. They don't really know what they're capable of doing when you ask them about fulfilling an expectation. And what happens is human behavior gets in. Human behavior comes in. And when human behavior comes in, and they can't fulfill it, then everybody is disappointed, which crushes relationships completely. So I'm going to speak on my marriage. For the first 12 years of my marriage, for the first 7 years of my marriage, I lived with the expectations that my husband was fulfilling for the first 7 years of our marriage. And what happened was, in the middle of that 7 years, we experienced a substantial loss of my husband's path. Time changed, a death in his life changed his ability to commit. And this is why, and this is from my therapist, and I'm just speaking, he wouldn't mind if I said all this, but my expectation, it was unfair for me to continue to have expectations of him, because I needed to be able to make myself happy, to give myself joy, and nothing he couldn't do for me should be able to break me. Because we're not here to complete each other. We're here to serve each other.
So I'm glad you shared that story. So let's get something on the record. I hear you, Jamila. I want to address what Jamila said.
I know 2 things can be true at the same time, right?
That we voice our expectations. Let's get true. Let's get real about real. There's a difference between expectations and desires.
Woo!
Let's get real about real. Let's get real about real.
That was a chest punch for some.
There's a difference between expectations and desires. Okay? If you don't believe me, look it up. Listen, words are important. But in this case, this ain't even about semantics. This is about different meanings. Expectations about what will eventually happen, what is supposed to happen in the future, what you are explicitly stating that this needs to happen. Strong belief that this will happen. Desires about what I want.
Mm-hmm.
It's what I want in my life. I desire love. I desire honesty. I desire truth. I desire peace. I desire good things. Nothing wrong with desires. Expectations are dangerous.
Mm-hmm.
Not the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
I believe you should voice your desires.
Mm-hmm.
Desires of your heart.
Mm-hmm.
Let's talk now. Let's talk real.
Mm-hmm.
Desires of your heart. Desires of your heart. If you know what I'm talking about, you know what I'm talking about. Desires of your heart. Expectations. They're not real.
Nope.
That's man stuff. Man-made stuff. So the step is about moving the mindset from expectation to the heart set of desire.
Mm.
Expectations live in the mind. Desire lives in the heart. Okay?
You ever thought about preaching?
No, I've never heard of that before. No, never
You
heard
thought about preaching?
No.
That right there, that's a word.
But we got to be real about what we know. Listen, this is a big topic. This is a big deal. And I want folks to get their mind and heart wrapped around what's leading what. Because there are people that will say, no, ain't nothing wrong. Ain't nothing wrong. So she said, what about when the preacher says, wake up every day with expectancy in your heart and mind?
From God.
She said, yeah.
From God. He ain't talking about man.
We ain't talking about man.
Listen, expectations will ruin a marriage before. I am telling you why. Because things change. Things change. And one day that person is not going to be able to meet the expectations of your mind. Yeah. And you are going to be disappointed, and you're going to feel like you shouldn't be there anymore. It will destroy any relationship.
Look, yeah, wake up every day with the expectancy is about God.
It's about God.
Right? So we know when we delineating the human, right, from God, right? So we understand that the human is imperfect, will always be, because human must be forever and ever be imperfect. That being said, look, let's take it back to the question at hand. Do you desire goodness? Yes. But when somebody doesn't give you the goodness, all we can really appropriate that at that time should be they either are ill-equipped or unknowing. and that's okay.
Yes.
It's just okay. Everyone is not going to be in the space to provide you what you desire. But I can certainly tell you 100% unequivocally, folks ain't gonna be in the space to respond to what you expect. Ever.
And not consistently. Like, yeah, they may be on time this time, but at some point they may disappoint. Listen, I am here to tell you that when you be, if our purpose on this earth is to serve, if our purpose, listen, expectations will kill resilient love. You won't be able, forgiveness. It will, because a person, when we are disappointed, it's very difficult to have compassion for a person, empathy for a person, when they have not fulfilled an expectation that we've had of them, because we're so disappointed that we are thinking about what we needed and not what they need.
Listen, somebody walking around the house, walking around the job, walking around their friends, pouting, mad, pissed off because they expect something.
Because they expect something.
Right now, somebody who's listening, whoever you're listening right now, watching, listening, the replay, the playback, the audio, whatever it may be, if you're listening, somebody's walking around with the pouty mouth because you're expecting something from somebody and they don't even know what you expect. I've been there. I get it. Listen, I can speak on it because I've been there. I'm walking around mad at the world. Mad, expecting something from somebody. One, they don't even know. And two, I deep down know they ill equipped to even give it to me anyway. So you mad at folks not being equipped and unknowing.
Mm-hmm.
Come on now.
Mm-hmm.
It's through expectations. Expectations are saying I need for it to happen. I have an idea of it happening. It will happen, right? Wrong. It will happen, right? It's going to happen now in the future. Like I expect it to happen. It should. The desire is a want. Desire of the heart. I want it to happen. But I know. Sometimes the desires of the heart don't manifest themselves in that way.
Mm-mm.
That's okay. That's okay. We live to see another day, hopefully, to have more desires.
Yes.
The metaphorical "how are you" is real, folks. Whatever that question is, whether it's that question or others, the question you should be asking yourself: are you walking in expectation or desire?
Thank you, Jamila. You changed the heart tonight. Look at you, Glenn Thomas. You changed our heart tonight. Look at you saving lives, doing CPR. You ain't even have to touch nobody.
Let me tell you something.
Okay.
Me been having this conversation with Jamila. Let me tell you something. Look, Jamila, if you come back on here, Jamila, and talking about something, you change your mind again. Let me.
You know what? Listen. Love you, Jamila. Okay, well, as we come to an end of today's show, Glenn, what parting inspiration do you have for us tonight?
It's simple, folks. Let's just listen. Whatever your question is, if you're asking people how are you, if you're asking them, you know, do you love me? If you're asking them, can we be friends? Like whatever you're asking them, whatever your metaphorical how are you question is, understand this. If you're gonna ask with intention. And whoever is receiving the question, don't have any expectations. Just have a desire of your heart. Just shift it from your mind to your heart. If both parties can participate in that way with intentionality and shifting from expectations to desires, I think we're going to be okay. I think we're going to be all right.
All I ask is that everyone shift their compassion use their compassion muscles daily so that when you get that I'm not okay, you know how to respond.
Yeah.
Just use that compassion when it's not detrimental so that when it is detrimental, that muscle is strong. That's my parting words. And I want to thank everyone. And as always, thank you, Glenn.
You're welcome, Renee. Lord help us.
Sorry for sharing space with us once more. And remember to keep doing your hard work. I'm Renee.
And I'm Glenn. Lord help us.
And this has been another amazing talk with
Heart Talk Live. Yeah.
We love you guys, and we see you soon.
We'll see you soon on the next one.
Bye, everybody.
Take care. Lord help her, Lord. Lord help her.
Bye, Jamila. Bye, Shelby.